Hi, so I'm Tina Jones. Welcome to the British Film Designers Guild Design Forum, and I'm a set decorator, and I'm here to talk to Daniel and Camilla Naprous from the Devil's Horsemen, that are corporate members of the British Film Designers Guild. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just wanted to sort of like fill everybody in on sort of what you do and when we met, which I think was probably about 10 or 11 years ago when I started Mary Queen of Scots. Only lasted for probably about 9 weeks. That's when I met you guys, because Scarlett Johansson, I believe, wanted to work with you, didn't she?
I worked with on the other Bling girl and she personally requested me. So that's how I managed, because I think I tried to meet you a few times before and that managed to get us an introduction to you, and then kind of the rest is history. I mean, we've done a lot of projects.
We have. After that, I think we went on to do Hollow Crown, King Henry and Jane Eyre. And I think it'd be really good if you maybe sort of spoke to us and told us a bit about your company, the history of the Devil's Horsemen.
So we are second generation. Our father created the company back in the late 60s. But we started off with live shows, so like equestrian theatre, and then built ourselves up from there to come into, the film and TV industry. And I think in like the last 12 years, we've really taken off. And I think with age and growth, we've both really come into our own on our different projects that we've worked across.
Yeah, definitely. We having the equine theatre background has definitely given us a great avenue into the film world, because we've managed to take and hold on to that and progress into filming and building relationships and trying new things.
You used to do a lot of stunt work as well, didn't you?
I did. So as a stuntman on my own, from majority was horse movies, but the Bonds and things like that I've done without horses.
He's also Darth Vader.
Yes,
he keeps that secret that he plays Darth Vader. That's when he's in the bar.
And how large is your team? What sort of size team, and how many horses have you got with you?
I mean, it's interesting. At the moment, we have 98 horses in stock. We have over 700 carriages. We currently have the biggest collection in the world. Wow. And I think we're over 2,000 saddles. And we're constantly building, making, buying, sourcing from all over Europe. So we're growing all the time, which is interesting, because, you might come and see our workshops like, a year ago, and you come back a year later and it's grown again. So
that's also you need to understand, everything is under one roof here. That's what we're quite proud of as well. So there's 700 carriages, all under, not one roof, under 5 roofs, but all on one location. So when you come here, you can really spend as many days as you want, but you don't have to go away and come back again. So you get to see everything in one go, don't you?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes it's too much. I mean, I've had a lot of people come up to visit, and it's kind of, it's the same as going to a big prop store. It's too much to do in a day, so you kind of have to like split it up over a couple of days, so you can kind of, go through the detail depending on what period it is. Is it a Roman? Is it Egyptian? I think chariots. I think we've got like over 60 chariots now of different periods, which is crazy if you just go into that collection, and just like siphon through what you want. And I think as we progress and build our relationships up with designers and set decorators, we start to know your tastes and what you like and have an idea. So, which is kind of nice, because you kind of cut through the relationship quite fast. So if you call me up and say, I like the Nethers, we're doing something Victorian, and give me your, tonally what you want, when you turn up, we can have everything out and we can show you all, have it all on the yard and look at the scale and mass. Look what it's really interesting to see what like 30 carriages look like and have them out, rather than, looking individually. It's nice to see, I think, see it on scale though.
Yeah, no, it's really important to see it on scale. And also what is really important to us, we've got all these different pieces of equipment that you get to look at, and you can take pieces from different eras. And we made some fantastic masks, didn't we, on King Arthur.
King Arthur, yeah.
Lovely, sort of huge things, but really was still quite ergonomic to the horse's face, but really extended it. So by being able to see all these different things and getting the feel and seeing them actually on the horse, then we get straight to the point. instead of having to do lots of testing. We still do a lot of testing at home, but I think it speeds the project up.
It does, and we're very much into understanding the science. If it's, you know, to do with the carriages, and the carriages have obviously changed throughout the years, to do with the springs, to do with, you know, are they on rubber wheels, are they on steel wheels? Looking at the saddles, I think that's what we're really getting into now, is like the different.
Yeah, even on the Nethers, where we had the stunt carriage where they're jumping all over it, we have all the rails and steps that we built onto it. Yeah. Even on the mud guards we built, they were designed so it looked like a mud guard, but the guys can get up quicker. And again, from having that stunt ground background, it helps us on that way. Yeah. So we're involved with the stunt world, the action world, and also the artistic world, which we're really striving for now.
Yeah, creatively, I think we're very interested in the making of movies, not just in our world. We're very interested in design, you know, if it's production design, costume design, the stunts. We work very, very closely with our actors. I don't think anyone realizes how much time we spend with them. You know, if we're doing something big, we'll have them in for 3 months training. You know, some of them come like 5 days a week, and you create this fascinating relationship with them as well, because it's up, you know, you have 3 months and you're with each other, it's just the two of you, how that whole relationship comes together, because that's all built on trust as well. Because, you know, if you've never ridden a horse in your life, and some people do, depending on your time and how you're restricted, we have to have them up to speed. And then that's the greatest part we give back to our horses, is you realize how amazing they are on set and what they have to. I mean, that was crazy what we achieved. I mean, we blew up the whole set. They had to wear full costumes. They were in these big suits of fur.
So we're getting really good at breaking it all down and giving it to pieces. But also what's really interesting for us is we get to work on Star Wars, which we laid a floor and everything, and a long build up to their costume. The costumes are fantastic. But we also get great enjoyment on different size projects.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like one day you're on the Aladdin, then you're on the Favourite, then you might be on like a superhero movie. We did the Eternals last year. We've done both Wonder Woman movies. I mean, that's great. And like Wonder Woman, we chartered a plane to take our horses to Port Ventura. So there's always something different, and it's always, you've got to find different avenues. Like we didn't know much about planes. 6 months later, we had to fly horses.
That's the fun bit, isn't it? Yeah. It's the fun bit when you discover new things.
Well, that's what I liked. I think when I first met you guys, was that you were, not only were you incredibly accommodating, and for people that knew nothing about horses, you know, you actually sort of managed to make it all much simpler. You didn't blind us with science, but you've also got such great area and space there that, like you say, not only can you get all the carriages out, which helps us see how much area they're going to take up, but I know that, for example, on one production, I think we had a recce at your premises, and we were able to have a production meeting up where you're sitting now. So everybody could see, not only could the director see the horses and the carriages, but the stunt coordinator could see what he was working with. And that's what's so impressive. You've got a fabulous setup there. And I think also for me, what was very important was that your consideration of the welfare of the horses, because they are, at the end of the day, they're like children. They can't be on the set the whole time. So it was nice to see that you actually had a consideration for how long they spent on set, and you had other horses to replace them, and you know, that was good. And I do remember actually you talking, Camilla, about training. We had an actress on King Arthur, didn't we, who I think she want to ride with no saddle and bridle, which was a bit of a challenge.
Astrid. Actually, she was an amazing rider. Turned out like she was absolutely fantastic. She rode that beautiful dun horse, the stallion Cartels. But it's just, you know, you have to, I mean, lots of people turn up with very ambitious ideas, and trying to kind of navigate that and make it work for us, for the actor, for the director, for the design. And again, it's back to that collaboration and understanding and doing as much as we can to kind of make whatever it is on page come to life. And I think, I mean, I love it. I really enjoy the process. And back to the welfare, you know, comment. I believe like we are the voice for the horses, and you know, sometimes you come across directors, and you know, at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well, time's up, and we've done it, and we've agreed to our runs, and you know, I remember a director said to me once, just give it another carrot. That didn't go in my world. But, you know, we do have to stand up for them, and we do, you know, but we always give the information ahead of time. You know, we work very closely with our directors. If it's something complicated, like, you know, let's say a Lloyd's Bank commercial or something, we give all of our restrictions to start with. They have an amount of runs. Let's say for a Lloyd's, we do like 5 horses. You know, each one does an hour on, an hour off. The same if you're doing like a heavy actors day. You know, if you're on camera and your actor's riding all day, it's only fair if the actor gets to step off and, you know, pop to the toilet or have a tea break. The horse gets to step off. So if the horse comes off, there's a stand-in horse that comes and takes its place. He can go off. He can have his rest time. So you know, I think
we do. You know, we look after them, and also the welfare when they come home. We've got a lovely place here. We've got 120 acres, which we're a little bit far away from the studio sometimes, but what it does give us is this fantastic opportunity when we're not filming is to give them some space. They can go back outside. They live in a herd, the majority of them. The stallions obviously don't. But they get to have downtime and do different things. And that really embraces the mentality of the horse and keeps him happy and vibrant and ready for the next job.
And so what, you have a great manufacturing capacity there as well. So what other things do you supply? I mean, obviously you've got the carriages and the carts, and you can make those to the design, can't you? If we needed, say, if I come and see you and you have the perfect cart, but maybe, I don't know, the window's too big, or would you be able to adjust things like that?
Well, we know this with you. This is the story of our life. We have 700 carriages and we don't have the one.
Yeah, exactly the story.
What
We
can we
always
do?
have to new one.
But we are really pleased with that. I think that's what's taken us to the next level in the last sort of 10, 7 years. In the last decade, we definitely stepped up because we have a huge in-house capability from leather work. So for the bridles, the tack, and then we can move on to the carriage work, which we build from scratch. We built them for...
We built all the carriages for the favourite with Alice and Fiona. We created them from scratch from Game of Thrones. For you, we built carriages for... We just currently built a carriage for New Cutler, for the Northman coming up on a Viking design. So I think that's exciting too. So we have our wood workshop, we have our metal workshop. So whatever you send it to us, we will create and make in-house, and usually under a super short time period. Some people, we've got 2 weeks to build. I'm like, okay, no pressure. Okay, boys, you're going to be going 24 hours a day. Yeah, recently we built the state carriage for the Crown with a special effects company too, so we co-partnered on that, and that was fascinating to kind of create, you know, the Jubilee carriage. That was an enjoyable process. So I mean, it's great. Everything is under one house, and it's just nice that when you come here, we can look at the tack, we can look at the carriages, we look at the horses. Everything's, yeah.
It is, it's really interesting because we started as equine theatre, sort of very boutique, very sort of niche, and expanding what we could do with the horses. And we've managed to take that, no matter where we go with the business, into the film. We've managed to keep, I think the two of us actually helps, because it refocuses us. Because if one's coming off track, the other one can say, oh, what do you think you're doing? Don't be stupid. This is what we do. This is what, so it keeps us focused and keeps on top of each other. And we've managed to keep that enthusiasm. And with every day, also, we have a lot of young people that work with us, don't we?
Yeah, so I think it's really nice because I know that some of the designers and set decorators, like maybe watching now, work with some of our other Horsemasters, i.e. be it Adam or Tom or Bert. So it's nice, so it kind of spreads out, and it's interesting, all of our Horsemasters, apart from Dan, are actually in their mid-30s. So there's a lot of longevity. I know, sorry, Dan.
Late 30s.
Late 30s. So I think it's nice because there is a lot of youth and everyone bounces ideas off each other. There's no I in the Devil's Horseman. It is very, very much a collaboration. And we work very closely with each other. We'll always be bouncing ideas. It's not just someone goes off on their own movie. We're always helping each other and trying to strive to move forward. If someone's stuck on some sort of concept or sequence, we'll all communicate, and we're always accessible to our team. I mean, my phone's on. If you have a problem, 3 o'clock in the morning, anytime, you can call me. Like if there is something to deal with, and I think that's really nice that we will always kind of keep that connection. and going. And
Keeps us
luckily,
fresh.
yeah, and it does. It keeps you on your toes. I think it's good to be kept on your toes. We don't want to ever become, you know, oh, they're just going to supply the same old thing and that's what it is. We want to strive to do our best for you, and whatever we can create on screen, we want to do it to please.
How much involvement do you get with, because I know, you know, on a lot of my productions, you've been in on production meetings with all of the other HODs. Do you find that other productions that happen?
I think it very much depends on the production. I think some of them were in so early. You know, Wonder Woman, before we shot it, we were in a year and a half before it went into pre-production.
There's only 5 people that had the script, and we were one of them. Our department got the script before everyone else. So
I think it very much depends. You know, I think on Game of Thrones, I was really lucky. I was very, you know, I had a great relationship with the 2 showrunners, Dan Weiss and David Benioff, and that was an incredible experience to kind of go through these 8, and I did season 1 to season 8, and obviously we worked together on season 2, and be able to kind of be given freedom creatively. I mean, when we used to get our first scripts, I think I think it was season 6, we did this like Dothraki charge. And in the first script, it said, okay, we're going to do Dothraki charge. And it said, oh, and Camilla, over to you. So that was amazing to be able to, okay, this is, at that point, you know, it's one of the biggest TV shows in the world. And I called up Dan, I was like, well, this is our chance now that, you know, they're letting us kind of create something, which at that point, we wanted to do something that had never been seen on screen before.
The famous line, we're going to do something that's never been seen.
We're going to reinvent the wheel. And funnily enough, we did. And we created a rig, which we'd actually designed previously, like 8 years ago in one of our shows. And we bank ideas all the time when we're doing our shows, and we do put things in the arena, and we think, okay, well, maybe later we could pick that up and put it into a sequence. I
think with the shows, we have a lot more room to, not to fail, but something, if it doesn't work, because it's a live thing for half an hour, the next thing is on. So if it doesn't quite work, you get the opportunity to move on. So we get to really experiment.
And we can readjust and play with things and look at it. So anyhow, we managed to get this, and it turned out to be an incredible scene. And, you know, it was very talked about around the world. And now it's been copied by a few movies, which I suppose we should feel kind of quite special. Like Mulan copied our concept on Dothraki charge. And the same with Battle of the Bastards. I know that a few people have copied the iconic scene where Jon Snow pulls his sword. So there is, I suppose it's quite nice now. We should take it as a...
What production do you think you'd say you're most proud of?
I think for me, Thrones it is for me, because I had so much growth. You know, I started that when I was 23. They allowed me to Horsemaster it, which is pretty amazing, to let a 23-year-old kind of come in and like take over the show. And then to see how much I grew as a person, personally and in my work life. I think I learned a lot, and it was an amazing experience to kind of stick on something and have to reinvent it every year. You came back, you had to bring something new to it. You were changing HODs, like, you know, we changed design teams, you changed teams, different directors. So I think, that was the one for me. And then now, I mean, there's other movies, like I loved working on The Favourite. Every single day I went to work on that. That was just an amazing experience to work with your boss and work with Fiona and Alice. I loved that. I mean, what do you reckon for you?
What about you?
I think it's different. There's a difference. I think many people agree with this. The difference of what the end result of the movie is sometimes very different to what you felt that you put on the movie. I mean, for me, Exodus was a movie. Again, it was the beginning. You went to Game of Thrones, and I went to do Exodus. It was the beginning of our growth, working with Ridley, seeing how he worked. It was definitely, that was one that will stay with me forever. Shutting down Pinewood so we could get the 60 chariots through for one of the sequences. But it's really dependent on. I feel that we grow every time we do something, because sometimes I tell you, there's a secret that we do like to do. Whatever happens, we like to put something in there, whether you see it or you don't see it, that is different and new. It can be really small, but when we see it and we can make it grow or not grow, it's quite exciting that window is. It's a very small thing, and exciting is maybe most people find it quite boring, but it's quite exciting to see something that could possibly work. And from that little acorn, you know, an oak can grow. So without even noticing, we like to drop little things on top of it, and I think layering up that has made us grow into this position that we're in now.
No, you're right.
I can remember on King Arthur, I mean, you had a huge part to play in, you know, when his horse jumps off the broken bridge. You know, you were choreographing that, weren't you, to a certain extent?
Yes, we were, because we worked very closely. I think from the stunt side, it's definitely helped. We did that. And actually, it was quite a fun thing to shoot, actually, wasn't it?
It was at Leavesden. It's our favourite place.
Yeah,
we love Leavesden. We're very close to Leavesden. So it is, depending on which project. I mean, you know, I'm talking to projects, working with people now. Like, there's a lot of people. Actually, I was talking to Work Untitled this week, and they're creating a new script, and they called me up and said, could you advise on the script? So it's kind of nice now that we're creating these relationships when we are brought on so early. And I think it's quite sensible for productions to bring us on and go, is this possible? Is there anything else we can do? Can you put some input into it? So I think, and it's getting nicer and nicer, because I think, you know, 20 years ago, the Horsemaster just turned up and there was a horse in the background.
Yeah. Also, what we were very proud of, because we keep the same horse. These horses start work with us when they're 4 years old, and then they usually retire with us, and then they get to live out the pastures. So every product, every film or whatever we start on, we're starting hopefully now from a higher starting point, because these horses have worked on film sets, they've done other things. I think that's really helped us push on.
No, it's really nice.
These horses that work with us all the time, and you know how far you can push them in what they can give you, from creating the scene, creating the tone, and the excitement of different shots, isn't it? Yeah,
and they also get, like, some of our actor horses now get requests to, like, you know, actors will call up and they want to stay with the same horse if it's another production. Like Olivia Colman likes to ride Tornado wherever she can go. So it's nice that kind of they build that, and they build that trust, and they want to come back to us, and we, on that side as well, creating those relationships when she'll, you know, travel on to the next movie, and watching how everyone progresses and grows too, I think is really fascinating from the actor point side, and how much more you do with them, the more that you can create on camera.
Yeah. I think people like that we pride ourselves in working with people. So if you have a scene come, you know, we talk a lot about different movies that we've made together, and you say, I want to do this, and we say, well, we can do this. What do you think of that? And it's a conversation. It's not a, we can do that, we can do this, we should do this. It's a conversation. If you don't like the idea, we've been knocked down quite a few times. We go, okay, well, then we don't like that, we can try this. So it's really a conversation.
3 times that you try. 3 times you try.
3 times.
After the 3rd time you said no, we just give up.
Yeah. But that is important. It's a conversation. And then from conversations, we can definitely do different things.
And like you say, Camilla, that in the early days, that would never have been a consideration, because you were just the horsemaster. But now I think you've become sort of HODs and more considered when people are actually trying to put a scene together. And so how do you think it's going to develop in the future? Where do you see maybe Devil's Horseman in 10 years' time?
I think a few things why we should do. One is health and safety is very high on our agenda, which is definitely 10 years.
Oh, for sure. Like, you know, we do a lot with our health and safety, with our risk assessments, with our team as well, making everyone understand.
Also the COVID, what we've had to go through now.
Yeah, I mean, just going through our COVID safety protocols, we've been working very closely with First Option. But, you know, I took some advice, and we started working on that about 6 weeks ago. We had everything in line. I didn't want to leave everything to the last minute. So, you know, dealing closely with some, you know, producers that I work with, gave me some great advice. And, you know, I cleverly, you know, took it and moved forward. But I think, you know, creating equality, we strive for in our company, and diversity, working on that over the next decade. I think that's our next level to kind of jump up to, and that's what we want to strive for.
I think we've already jumped ahead of that, because if you look at the last 3 or 4 years,
Wonder Woman,
I think we've really had the opportunity to open up different doors. And again, that's what's fun for us, to look at these different avenues, you know, to make it new, make it fresh, make it different. Yeah. Very important to us. Also, we've also started making, you know, we've actually started to expand. I mean, we made this book that we're really, really proud of, with explains our life.
Wait!
There we go.
Nice book.
Gorgeous book, yeah.
Also, we're making a little short movie with my daughter. So, you do all these movies, you want to ride 12 horses, the next person can do this. So what we've tried to do, we're going to do this little thing with my girl. She's 6 years old. She's going to ride around on this beautiful black horse. And because that's a moment that we're going to capture, because that can never happen again. She's going to be 7 next year. She's going to be 8 after that. So you can never go back to it. So it's really fun to do this. And
I think we're always trying to strive, like, obviously you've seen the book, and a few people might have seen it, but creatively, I mean, I love photography, and just being able to do that and capture, again, and capturing our growth and our experience, and then maybe in another decade we'll again. But I think I think sometimes you have to stop and really appreciate the moments and appreciate what's going around you, because as we all know, the film industry moves so fast. We're always going at 100 miles an hour. Do we appreciate going to these incredible situations? Do we stop and go, wow? And luckily, again, the two of us kind of
I think that's what lockdown.
I don't know what year it was, but if you name the film, you go, oh yes, that year.
Well, that's what lockdown has done now, hasn't it? I think it's made us all slow down and appreciate what we've got, and what a wonderful industry it is. And talking of which, what are you doing about young people that maybe, because some people out there won't even know that such a thing as Devil's Horseman exists, are you training young people into the industry?
Definitely are. What is so great about the Devil's Horseman is there is no one route in. You don't go to study horses and then you can come in. That you're more than welcome to do it that way, but there isn't just one route in. We take people from all walks of background, all different jobs, and we'll take young people on. We do take work experienced people on. We also take older people.
We take older people. Like, we accept, like, if you want to come for us, we'll try anyone out. We'll give anyone a chance, because you never know what you might come across and how you work together. So there's nothing that kind of...
It's to do with attitude. Anyone that turns up has to have the correct attitude from the start.
Yeah.
And attitude is, you're there to work, respect, and give back to the horse, because you and the horse basically, our company is founded on a snowball effect with the horses. So the more you give to the horse, the more he gives back, then you can give back to him and he'll give back to you. And then his confidence and his position of where he wants to be grows. So that is the fundamentals of our company. So whether that's employees, horses, or me and my sister.
Well, I think that's what's so great about you guys, that when all of your team are just so enthusiastic, they're friendly, they're approachable, but they're very professional, so they keep to the rules that have been put down about when you're approaching horses on set, but they do it in a really nice way. You don't feel that you're being told off by them. It's sort of, you can still go over and give the horse a stroke if you want to, but it's I think you've got a great team of people there. And what do you how do you think recognition for your craft, what do you feel about that? Because you're sort of, you're very much in the background, aren't you? That to a lot of people, the layman out there, wouldn't really be aware of a company like yours. So do you feel that you get the recognition that you deserve?
I think personally we get the recognition, like, if people have, won previous awards, depending on which department you're in, we've got a lot of thanks. So I think off the HODs themselves, we do get a lot of thanks. I mean, there's moments I'm sure we'd like a bit more if possible, but that's our job and that's our position. And as time progresses and moves on, maybe there will be. Yeah. I mean, I am a member of. Yeah, I did get my BAFTA membership recently after being knocked back twice as a Horsemaster. I'm quite sure if everyone knew what Horsemasters was.
How do you? What about working with other animals? And other animal handlers? Because I know I've worked with you before, where we've had pigs and camels and cows and all sorts of other animals on set. Do you work quite closely with other animal coordinators?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we only do horses, and that's all we specialise in. And mules and donkeys, of course, your favourite. Uh, but let's say someone like we work very closely with Jill Raddings. If we're working with the dogs, we might do preparation days to kind of, to see that everything's okay with the dog and the horse. So Jill's probably the one we work most closely with, and we have a good understanding of each other depending, there might be, for example, on Gentleman Jack, we had to have pigs on the back of the carriage and making sure that the horses are okay with the pigs and so on. So it's just building that relationship and understanding of going, okay, well, do we need to rehearse this? Should we have some preparation? Is it okay? But yeah, horses, we're no good with dogs. It would be awful. It'd be very embarrassing if I brought my Lakeland Terrier to it.
You can't get a dog on the beach.
Yeah, I could lose my dog anywhere. So just horses, luckily. There you go. That's all we're good at. Nothing else.
And how do you think the relationship with the set deck and art department works with Devil's Horseman? Do you think it works well, or is it very different from production to production?
I do think it is very different from production to production. I mean,
Personal.
It's very personal, and obviously I have some great relationships with different set decorators, and the more movies you do, the better relationship as we evolve. I get to understand, how you work and what you want and what I might be able to put forward for you. And then, as we further ourselves, we build new relationships. And yeah, so at the moment, there's no one, touch wood, but I don't go, oh no, they're crawling.
I think you guys are so approachable though, and I've always enjoyed popping up there. And in fact, just recently, I think I sent a couple of my guys up to see you, and they both came back really excited about it and how they'd had a wonderful day up there and seeing the horses and being shown around. So yeah, it's a great place because I think a lot of people don't realize what other things you do, because in the background behind you, you've got a whole load of different sort of tack and leather work that you can make for people. So it's not just saddlery, is it? You can make all sorts of stuff.
Well, everything. No, it is. And it's kind of exciting because every time someone turns up, there's always something different going on. And it might be a 4-horse chariot going past or 30 horses going that way and all over the place. So yeah, our typical working days, there is no typical working day, funny enough, getting onto that topic. Every day is different. If it's not in pre-production for something or working or prepping or horses, even moving the gear, moving like 30 carriages to central London, there's a lot of work that goes into that, how we transport them, taking care of the carriages, because a lot of our carriages are originals, so we have to, make sure everything's up to its health and safety standards and preparing it. So it's kind
there isn't a standard day because one day, like you say, one day we're doing logistics. We're also in process of co-directing for Royal Windsor next year, a big show that they want to put onto TV.
Which is going to be amazing because we're going to co-direct a show for the Queen. So that's another thing, which is really exciting and come from our world in working in live shows, that now we're being given this opportunity, and that and the Queen is going to sit there and watch. So fingers crossed.
And didn't you do? There was another royal tour you did at the beginning of this year, didn't you?
Yes, we did a show for the King. We took horses over to Saudi Arabia. So it's kind of nice that we kind of still keep that show and keep the live shows and theatre working, because I think we're very passionate about it. Anyone that started in design as well, in theatre, you kind of always want to go back to that, because it's such a different feeling than standing on a film set, creating something for a live audience. So I think it's
that
so
danger
lovely
of doing it because it's a live thing. It's also that instant rapport from the crowd that they give back to you. So it is a different sort of excitement within our world.
Yeah, I love them both. And there's something amazing about turning up on a set with 100 horses coming down the hill, and then there's something wonderful about being in an arena with 500 people, and you've created this 2-hour show, and you see, you have kids come from inner cities that have never, been so close to horses before, or so there's so many give backs and kickbacks that I get from it, and I think I'm still excited and buzzing about it. And the day that
I feel exactly the same. Like when we were on Aladdin, can you remember we had a dress rehearsal on one of the weekends? I think it was on Sunday. And when all the horses came through the archway in their costumes, it lifts you. It's incredible. I think it must be thing to do, to work with animals like that, because that you can never predict how they're going to be, and so you have to take into account as well.
No, you're right, it is. And do you know what was really exciting for us recently? When we were shooting the Nethers in Chatsworth, what you and Gemma achieved and how you dressed. Do you remember when we went down and we were like, wow. So it's lovely moments when you kind of see your work as well. And I remember walking down like, we went to Chatsworth a lot, and this is absolutely beautiful what you both curated.
It was incredible, wasn't it? Yeah.
Stunning. Yes, that was, no, it's really nice. And I remember coming up to you both going, wow.
So before we wrap up, what would you love to do? Is there anything that is sort of a film that you've heard about on the horizon that you thought, oh, that would be great? Or maybe something that you haven't even created yet that you think there should be a film about it?
Yes, I do know what we both want to do. I think on the horizon, luckily, everything we want, we've kind of got and they're ready to go and we're connected to. We desperately want to make a Western.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I do know of a few things kind of coming up potentially. Hopefully COVID hasn't destroyed those possibilities, but I think that's when we really get a buzz, is to make
a Western would be really cool.
We just want to turn up in cowboy hats, that's the honest truth, and ride on set.
Well, let's put it out there. Let's put it out there, and hopefully it will happen.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We've got a lot of stagecoaches. If anyone's got a Western coming, we have 5 in the collection.
Well, hopefully we're going to see some of your carriages on this little film, and some of the work that you've created. I know that you made for me some wonderful horse headpieces and some other bits and pieces. But it's been lovely chatting to you.
Lovely chatting to you. And I think, listen, if anyone's ever interested and wants to come up, even if they have a project or don't have a project, like the doors are always open to come and see the collection. Anytime, anyone's more than welcome to kind of come and see what we have.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, because you can't imagine how well. Hopefully, from the film, they'll actually see the expanse of the amount of land you've got there. The storage, the horses, the facilities, all the carriages. I think it's well worth taking a day out away from your desk and going and having a look.
More than welcome. I would do really good coffee.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Take care, both of you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What would you do with design software that works the way you think? Vectorworks for Entertainment Design is the only solution with the flexibility to support your entire process. Create breathtaking scenery. Impress audiences with spectacular lighting. Add accuracy to your projects with the manufacturer-specific libraries you need. And analyze rigging to ensure safety. Then, save time and money by pre-visualizing your event and wow your clients with your designs. Every change you make is immediately reflected in your model and your documentation. And you can create light plots and automate paperwork to meet tight deadlines anytime, anywhere. Discover design software that provides the solutions you need. Whether you work in lighting, scenic, film, event, or exhibit design, Vectorworks can help make your creative vision a reality.
My name is May Davies and I work in the art department, and I'm a member of the British Film Designers Guild. And today I'm talking to Kesoon, who works at Vectorworks, which is a sponsor of the BFDG. I first met Kesoon a few weeks ago when I took part in some Vectorworks training that the BFDG had organised for lockdown, which was a really excellent use of lockdown time, actually. So I'm just going to be chatting to Kesoon today to find out a bit more about Vectorworks and her role within it. So hi, Kesoon.
Hi May, thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Do you want to start by telling us a bit about yourself?
Okay, great. Yeah, my name's Kesoon Chance. I am an interior architect. I'm also the Vectorworks industry specialist for entertainment. I've been with Vectorworks for about 6 years now, but in different dynamics, because I used to be a part of our distributor, but now, since Vectorworks has its office about 3 years ago, I've now been a fully fledged member of Vectorworks. So Vectorworks started about 1985. It's a part of the Nemetschek group, and our head office is in America. We also have a UK office, with the head office being in Newbury. I think that's about 3 years now. We initially started developing a CAD software that initially was called MiniCAD. We later transferred that name to Vectorworks, I think in the early 2000s. We are a software company that covers multiple industries, so we're one of the world's largest cross-platform software.
So what was the main industry that Vectorworks was developed for in the first place, and when did you become involved in film and TV?
So initially, Vectorworks was initially aimed at architecture and the architect industry. And I think in the early 2000s, I think 1996 maybe was roughly the year that we started invested in the entertainment industry. I think that was when the first toolkit for the entertainment industry came out. And since then, we have really pushed that side of things. We have lots of major networks, mainly in the US, that have uptake Vectorworks as one of their main softwares. We have lots of amazing tools, such as video screen tools, lighting, fixture tools within Vectorworks that are perfect for the entertainment industry. We've also branched out to another industry of landmark. So that's what all the landscape architects, landscape gardeners. So yeah, we covered the architecture, entertainment industry, as well as landmark industry. We also have a basic fundamental package, which is the base of all of our products, which could be useful for other people as well.
And what are the ways that Vectorworks is good for film and design teams specifically?
So I think the ability for different departments to work together, whether you're on the lighting, the set design, and you can work together on one project, I think that's an amazing element for the film and TV industry, because it's an all-in-one package where you can do drafting, 3D modeling, rendering within the one program. And it's just saving times in terms of trying to take it out to another program and then have to re-import it. And also the ability to maybe do a 3D printed version of an object you created within Vectorworks, because we do support many different types of file formats. So you can export and import STLs, import SketchUp objects. So I think because we're so good at collaborating with other softwares, I think in terms of efficiency and speed for the industry, I think Vectorworks is a great tool.
Obviously in the art department, it's software like this is used a lot. And also in the set decoration department, people are making bespoke props with the software. And yeah, the ability to kind of export them for 3D printing even is useful if people are making scale models to show pictures and things, or just to see them in the program as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So you've obviously got a relationship with the BFDG. How is Vectorworks involved with film and TV on a day-to-day basis?
So on a day-to-day basis, apart from using the software as one of the main design processes in their projects, we have the ability to feedback direct information and opinions from our users to our engineers. And I think that's the main thing about my role, is that having someone there just to be able to call them up, email them, and tell them any issues you're having regarding the program or any amazing feature requests that you want to put in. I think that's a key benefit. If you have any feedback regarding Vectorworks, and whether it's an issue or a feature that you want to put in with Vectorworks, or a resource, another speaker or another video screen, let us know, send us an email, and we'll do our best to help you.
Yeah, I hadn't realised how accessible the software development team are actually. When we did the session together, you were really encouraging us to send advice of things that we'd like to see change. So yeah, it's really good to know that you can kind of, submit feedback for changes to the tools or whatever.
Yeah, we're really trying to get more engaged with the TV and film industry especially. So this is the perfect time for anyone to just put their ideas out there.
Yeah, I think that's what we realised when we did the session together. It's the film and TV industry requirements for a software like this are quite strange compared to maybe architecture or like interior design. And some features are really useful, whereas others aren't necessary, like all the kind of electricity and plumbing aspects.
Yeah.
So I think that it's anyone that uses Vectorworks, it would be really great to just keep submitting feedback, wouldn't it? Because then the software can just become more and more bespoke to our needs.
Yeah, I think that's perfect because I think everyone has a different workflow. So if you find something that is good for you, do let us know and we could try and help others at the same time.
So how do you see Vectorworks developing in the future?
So I think with Vectorworks, one of our core beliefs is just having the interest and flexibility to invest in technology. And I think we want to be one of the ones that are at the forefront of everything. So we do have a lot of partnerships currently existing and some that are possibly coming up in the future. Some of the ones that are existing, we have partnership on the rendering side to get the real-time rendering, which would be perfect for entertainment, film and TV industry. So we have partnerships with like Lumium, Enscape. So it'd just be great just to have a quick real-time render of your projects. We also have other collaborations that are in the works, but I think we will likely see Vectorworks expanded to other countries. So at the moment, believe we're in over 85 countries in the world. So we are looking to spread our wings and see what industries are out there, see if there's another area that we might have overseen, see where we can invest more. So again, investing in TV and film industry. So yeah, I think it's looking good for the future.
Yeah, that sounds good. There's been loads of really interesting webinars and talks at the moment during lockdown from kind of VFX artists talking with production designers about how that relationship's developing, and the ability to kind of render spaces, you know, more accurately is becoming more and more important. So yeah, it's definitely good to hear that feature.
Oh, that's good.
And how do you see your relationship with the BFDG developing?
So I think we've been working with the BFG for almost maybe 2 years now. Initially I met Mads and Ali at one of the events. One of the users, Jamie Lapsey, was doing the show on Bodyguard, which was amazing. And I think from there, where we initially introduced Vectorworks, we figured out most of the members had Vectorworks, so that was already a brilliant starting point. So one of the discussions we had was to develop maybe training or workflows for users. And I think that's the direction that we're planning to go on, whether we do more webinars, workflow documents, work directly with the members to see if we can help in any ways. And again, just listening to what you want from Vectorworks, and we'll try to see if we can accommodate all those needs.
So we've talked a bit about the license fee for Vectorworks, and as we saw in the training session, you do get a lot for your money in the software package. And we just brought up that it is, you know, it is still quite a big amount of money for a lot of us, and a lot of us in the film industry work freelance, so we're all kind of purchasing the software individually, and a lot of us need it in the junior grades as well. And it can still feel like quite a big hit. So I just wondered if there's any ways that Vectorworks are supporting freelancers with the license fees.
So this has been a reoccurring topic that we've heard over the past few years, and I think Vectorworks has really listened. And this year in the UK, they've announced a subscription option for everybody. So you can buy the package, whether it's Spotlight, Architect, Landmark, you can buy that online on month by month basis. You can have a 3-month, or you can roll it on each month. And I think that'll give freelancers the flexibility that they need, because I understand projects may not be coming every month of the year. So having the ability to just have it for a few months and then maybe cancel it and then reactivate it another few months later when you have another project going, I think that will give the flexibility to the freelancers that they need. And I think these are the kind of feedbacks that we want to hear from our members, our users. Please do keep feeding back these opinions of yours. We do want to listen to you. So
what about have you got ways of supporting students and graduates?
Okay, yes. So we have an education license which we can provide to education establishments for free. So whether university, colleges, we can offer that for free for the education sites. But for the actual students as well, we have a student version which they'll need to access via the student portal. That basically gives them free access to Vectorworks for the entire time that they're studying. And once they finish studying, then we also have an offer for them. Basically, we give them Vectorworks at a discounted cost, which can help them, because as we all know, once you've graduated and you have to make that first step into the professional world, it can be a big jump. So Vectorworks wants to try and ease that jump for the newcomers in the industry. We're also having a design scholarship that's happening at the end of this year. And for the first time last year, we had a spotlight winner. So this design scholarship is basically global, and it will start in December and end in March. And then the winners will be announced in June. In this design scholarship, you can enter any kind of project you want within Vectorworks to our platform. And we have 2 prizes available. So we have a UK prize where it will be £2,000 for the winner, and then the global prize, which will be the equivalent of $7,000. So that could be an amazing leap for whoever wins the prize, and just getting started in their careers. And this is available for graduates and postgraduates of their studies.
Brilliant. And what about people that are using the license regularly? Is there any ongoing support that Vectorworks offer them?
Okay, so Vectorworks has always made it like their aim to support the users, because we want people to continue to use the software. We have different packages for support available. So we have a Service Select version of support, which gives people priority calls. But we also have support for absolutely everybody that uses software, whether you're a student or just usually occasionally. But basically, you can email into Vectorworks technical support, give us a call. We have access to the university, which was launched with the Vectorworks 2020 version, which basically has lots of webinars, live online sessions, quick tutorial training videos that you can look up for a specific tool. So it's a great way to start with Vectorworks, getting involved. We also have the Vectorworks Forum, which a lot of our engineers are on. So if you have any issues and you don't necessarily want to go to technical support, you could just send in a quick post on the forum, and you could quickly and easily get some assistance, whether from an engineer or other members. Our members are very vocal and helpful on the forum. So these are many ways that we can offer support.
Yeah, I found the Vectorworks University that you introduced us to during the training super useful, actually. It's like, I really like
to hear.
Yeah, I really like that the videos are really short, because so many online video tutorials are just really long for one small functionality of a tool. But they're sometimes they're less than a minute to just a minute. They're really good just for learning how to do one small thing.
Yeah, sometimes you might not have like a whole day to watch a video, so having that like 5-minute video here and there, I think is really useful, as you said. Yeah.
So your working day must have changed quite radically, like everybody else's, when lockdown happened. What was it like before, and how did it change, and when do you think you'll be easing back into normal?
Okay. My pre-COVID lockdown days, I was always out seeing clients. So at least 3 days a week, I'd be out seeing clients, users, trying to help them with their workflow, whether it's training issues, doing a demo. It was always varied. And I think that's what I love about my role. It's a varied role. But since being in lockdown, it's been a drastic change, because now I'm a full-time mom, a full-time worker, and it's hard finding that balance. But it's also interesting. It's a challenge. I like challenges, so it's been a nice challenge. My now day-to-day role being at home is overwhelming with Zoom. I think it's a fabulous tool, because now I can reach out to my American colleagues anytime in the afternoon, and it's just made it so much easier to communicate with each other. I also have the ability to have many more meetings in the day. It makes you a lot more efficient, so it feels like there's a lot more going on.
I totally agree. I think everybody's feeling a bit Zoom fatigued, but at the same time, it has been amazing to be able to kind of connect with so many new people. There's been loads of really useful and interesting industry webinars.
Yes.
From my point of view as well. And I think when we don't have to use Zoom so much, we'll all be quite relieved. But at the same time, I think it has opened up quite a lot of possibilities for, access to information, and including people from all over the country who aren't necessarily London based, where a lot of things happen. So yeah, I think those positives hopefully will continue in the future. Everyone's very well equipped to use Zoom now, so
yeah, that's for sure. I think this could be our new normals in some ways. I don't think we'll ever really fully go back to just, let's say, being in the office all day long or being on site all day long. I think it'll be a mixture of using more technology. So I think it is great that we're getting used to it already. This is our practice, and it's interesting to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks so much, Kesoon. It's been really good to chat today, and yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and maybe at some point I'll see you in real life.
I look forward to it, May. Thank you very much for having me.
Bye.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Neil Lamont. I'm here this afternoon with Michael Smoker from ASL, and we're going to be putting him through a few questions to learn more about him and ASL. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Neil. Thanks very much. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yep.
Okay. We've worked together for quite a long time. Do you remember when it was we first met?
Yes. I think it was on the first Harry Potter film, around about 2000, something like that.
Wow.
At Leavesden, when I think I met John King there the first day. He was there on his own in that huge office, and I think you came along, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Not much. It's probably not far off 20 years ago.
yeah,
Today.
probably just over the 20 years.
Yeah.
God, I can remember that far back, but I can't remember what I did yesterday.
No. And of course, in those days, you would have just been supplying just a print, just an
That's
order.
right, yeah, it was die line machines. Don't know if you remember them, but they were plan copiers, quite an archaic way of doing things when you look at it now, but
Yeah.
literally coated paper that the light shines on, destroys the coating where the pencil mark isn't, and then you put the paper through again through an activator bath, and
Well, that's
it's a bit like old photographic process.
terrifying.
The assistants had great fun with, there's a little nylon cord that went right the way across, and who could be the most sort of dramatic with it to make,
Of course. Even I could in those days. That's incredible. I can't do that nowadays.
No. Well, there's health and safety now. I don't think some were ammonia, and the ones we use were pressure diazo. So it's kind of, I think health and safety wise now, there's still some in America, but not any here.
No, I'm sure. Michael, tell us about the history of the company.
Well, Gearing's, which was obviously predecessor to ASL, was set up in around about 1903, a long time ago.
Wow.
Obviously not photocopiers then, it's kind of litho print and all sorts of things. They diversified, and then they were one of the first photocopier companies in south of England in around about 70s. It's a Nashatech dealership, which became part of Ricoh. And then I joined them in 2006. I'd had my own company before that, but there were various reasons it wasn't very successful, and one of them being the last Labour government, which kind of took away a load of subsidies for tax breaks. And it was a difficult time when about 2004, I think, something like that. Anyway, I got a job with Gearing's. I had to work and they were very good, and then things started to happen again. I think Jodie Jackman was the coordinator at Potter then. She contacted me again and said, can you help? Which I did, and then we've had a good relationship ever since. And then in about November 2018, Gearing's obviously was a family run business, but they decided to merge with ASL, as ASL are a growing company, and they're now I think they're one of the largest independent photocopier companies in the country, which has some really good benefits. The good thing is that we've kept the film division, which obviously I run, as almost like a separate entity. So nothing's really changed other than we've got access to a lot more equipment, a lot more support, which obviously strengthens what we do. We obviously supply commercial and educational business as well, and that's the majority of. I think we've got something like 30,000 machines in the field, so it's quite a large company.
And what proportion of art departments do you think you service in the film industry at the moment?
Percentage-wise, I'd say I've always specialised with the art departments because I've always had a liking for art, and I'd say 70–80% of art departments we try and supply. There are some out there that choose other people for various reasons, which is their prerogative, but I still believe that we supply the best service and the best equipment, but others might disagree, but there we go.
Next one. What do you think is your what's your typical working day like?
Like everyone's, busy, hectic, can change within a minute. I'll start off with a 2-hour drive at least, and on that drive things can change en route, but mainly I try and liaise with, I call them clients, such as yourself, art department assistants, coordinators, art directors. We do production offices for the whole field really, not only art departments, but liaising with people just to make sure that everyone's happy, overcome problems, installing machines on, because everyone brings their own to work, laptops, so everything's different for every individual. Everyone has a slightly different way of working, so it's quite one-to-one really, a bit of training. I would say that the majority of my time is spent just trying to help people. It's not really selling as such, because I'm more consultative than actual selling, so, which I love doing. I have a passion for helping.
So that basically forms mainly, you know, the big challenges that you have to deal with in the day, really, I suppose, at the same time, is dealing with art directors and anybody who needs to put it out, really. So putting out fires, kind of.
That's it.
Going in a.
Yeah, we've got a great team now. So one of the benefits of being a larger company is we've got a team. We can put the team together that really have the same ethos as me, which is to make sure that everything works on time, and because time is money, and you've got schedules to meet. So I've got a team, the same team at the main office, which is Matt and Wendy and Natalie in the admin team, and then on the field we've got Kevin and Tony, who are the main techs, and we've got Martin and Silas on the van, and then we've got access to lots of other technicians such as Graham and Dal, and then we've got, I think there's 20 others that we can get to. So
how many productions do you think you sort of work on at the same time? How many things do you have out now?
Well, I have about 400 machines in the field on films. At any one time. It fluctuates because some finish, some start, but I was doing a count up last year, and we got to a point where we were dealing with about 50 productions at once, which they're not all massive films. We do a lot of TV, a lot of pickups and reshoots, or additional photography. But you know, some of the TV stuff now is bigger than a feature film, as you probably know. Like some of the Netflix and Disney and Amazon, all those things are just huge.
It is amazing over the years, though, isn't it? How we, we struggled initially to get even a black and white copier in the art department. We had our die line printers and our plotters or whatever, but then to get a black and white copier, and then to upgrade that over the years to a color copier, it seemed to be, you know, really like very difficult to persuade the production.
Yeah, they're very
and look at the stage that we're actually at now, and the amount of stuff we have from you.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of distrust from production offices of sort of spiraling costs and not really being in control, although they quite like them having them themselves. But yeah, I mean, prices have reduced slightly since the early days, but they've kind of stayed the same, which means in real terms they're cheaper, because obviously with inflation and everything. But I mean, the early A3 photocopiers, printers were kind of, they do one or two prints, and then they do a sort of internal audit of itself, and then spew out another two. It was very time consuming. I think around about 2004-5, the advent of the technology changed slightly from a sort of round drum into separate drums, and then the path changed to almost straight path on them, so that you get less and less jams and much faster machines.
Yeah.
And then obviously we introduced the colour plotters. Remember the first, I think it was the end of Harry Potter 2, introduced the first digital wide format machine to yourselves away from die line, and that was kind of a springboard to all sorts of things, because then you could print, you could scan, you could archive, and it just opened up a world for you, so that you could send stuff to America or wherever you wanted to send it. And obviously it was so much better. It was the first OSE machine that which is now part of Canon.
Michael, what are the productions that really stick out in your mind, and which productions do you feel most proud of that you've supplied machinery to?
Okay, there's so many really. I suppose obviously all the Harry Potter films, because they were the sort of cream at the time, right the way through the 10-11 years of making them. They were groundbreaking in a lot of ways from our point of view, because we introduced digital technology during that time. At the beginning, I was doing Band of Brothers at the same time, which was an exciting project. It was just down the road at Hatfield, and it was great. It's tanks and soldiers and blowing up French villages. It was amazing.
I've watched that again in lockdown.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
It still stands up, and it's an excellent series, and brilliantly production design, and actually supplied for, and the machines you supplied were amazing. They look great.
Yeah. Other ones that obviously stand out are, I think it was Solo, really, which I watched last week for the first time. Good. I never get around to watching them, I'm so busy. But Solo, because introduced page wide to you, and when you were on that, it's an HP color production machine, which is kind of groundbreaking, because although it's inkjet, the print heads stay where in situ, and the paper moves underneath it, which makes printing so much quicker in the like issuing side of things. And it made it so that the color was the same price as black and white. And it was a kind of experiment which thankfully worked really well, and we've used it on a couple of other films. Obviously it's a really expensive piece of kit, but so you have to sort of stage it over a number of years to get any return on it. But there's a couple of others that stand out which you weren't involved with. Well, I think you weren't. Which is Mary Poppins Returns.
No.
The Mummy, although it's not exactly a fantastic film, but the sets were amazing, because they were at Shepperton. We used to be able to get in and see them quite a lot. some of the sets are now just fantastic. And then things like Killing Eve and Isle of Dogs, which was Isle of Dogs was at 3 Mills. But that was a long project, and it's puppetry. I hadn't supplied a puppetry film before, so that was really interesting.
Cool. Very, very, very diverse. How often do you feel that the input that you have given to the particular film is reflected in the final result?
I think I'm never sure on that one. It's strange because obviously we do our best and to make sure that everything's running smoothly and you get what you really need. It's really strange. You do all that and then suddenly the production's finished and everyone's gone and the assistants are left to box everything up, and then it's kind of you never really get any more feedback, so it's a difficult one to answer.
Yeah, it is a tricky question. Yes, of course, you have saved my bacon, and we definitely had bacon sandwiches together, I'm sure. What do you remember? Do you remember anything particular challenges that we faced together where we've sort of been up against it, or we then like a negative wrap round a drum of a drawing that had taken weeks and months to plan?
Yeah, I found there's lots and lots. If we go back to Potter days on the die line machines, the drawings were so long that the die line machine worked with a wick, so the activator soaked up into the wick through capillary action. But the drawings were so long that the wick would dry out before the end of the drawing. So because you were issuing lots of long drawings, the wicks used to pull out. So continually having to get a tech in to put a new wick in. So in the end, we decided to put a second machine in without any cost to you, and just to alleviate that sort of ridiculous position where you can't copy anything. But that's one thing. The usual thing is that you run out of ink or paper for a specific thing, and you've got a deadline for a presentation. So I think I've driven around the M25 at a million miles an hour on quite a few occasions to try and get something going.
That's very nowadays. Incredible.
Yeah, things are different, but it's similar problems, just slightly different.
And basically, on most movies, is it part of your package for you to agree a screen credit or anything of that nature?
That's something that I've often wondered because we don't get them. I've never. That's something I'd love to get.
Yeah.
Name and a credit. That'd be super. Just from a personal point of view, it'd be quite good. But no, never had any.
To sort of, well, hey, listen, so many screen credits are given. You think it'd be good to sort of see that. You've got some recognition on the.
Yeah, I think recognition from. I've always thought if I get repeat business, then it's recognition. That's all you need. Is that you've done a good job and good enough to warrant someone wanting to employ you again.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, indeed.
That's the kind of ethos I work on. That I want to do my best. Obviously, and that's what I'm trying to instill in the team that we use. Hopefully, it works.
The future as well. What does the future hold for the company?
Quite exciting, really. Technology is forever changing. We change with technology. With ASL, we also supply telecoms as well. So for productions that aren't in studio, if they needing to set up, which is going to be increasing now that a couple of the main studios have sort of signed long deals with either Disney or Netflix. There's less places that studio based for independents to go. So we can supply telecoms. We can set them up. It's cloud based, infrastructure. We also have an internet company called Silverbug.
Okay.
Milton Keynes, I think.
Yeah.
And we can remote in to help people. I do it regularly into their own laptops, so don't have to get on site. So it's a lot quicker. And the help desk that we have can do that and do it regularly, which means that you can solve a lot of networking issues and things very quickly. But the future looks bright. Certainly after lockdown, I'm sure there's going to be a need to produce a lot of they call it content now, don't they?
No, completely.
The TV stations are running out of stuff already, and
very much so. What does it mean actually after lockdown ends for you guys? Will you have to go back out and service machines that have been standing idle?
Probably. If they've been idle and switched off, then they'll probably have issues with the drums and things. It's going to be a sort of suck it and see, really, because some will need more attention than others. It'll only be things that happen anyway, but sort of come quicker. Probably some of the inkjet plotters the print head might have dried out if it's been turned off, because they really need to be left on, and they just sort of purge a tiny bit of ink just to keep the head working. But we've got the resource to do that. So.
Yeah. From my side, you know, the relationship works between art departments that I'm affiliated with and ASL. Well, actually, ASL, the head of the film division, is that, you know, you're always there. You're always on call. You're able to sort something out, or if something breaks down, you're able to bring us a new machine just like that.
Yeah.
And it enables us to keep the workflow managed and going in the right direction to, you know, the workshop.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. From an early day, it was evident that if the machines don't work, then it causes huge problems in your part of the world. In the commercial world, it's still a problem, but usually it's not so time constrained. But so that's why I'm always available on the phone. We also have now 2 engineers, Kevin and Tony, that are on 24/7 call out. So a lot of productions, we supply machines in the trailers and that, and they work through the nights, and there was a need, but they can get out to most places within an hour or so and solve a problem. Or you can do it remotely or over the phone, but we always try and help, even if we can't, we'll find a way. I remember there was a plotter problem in one of the Potter films. The colours didn't really match up with what the concept artist had done.
Oh yeah.
And we eventually got.
They're quite a bunch when it comes down to colour.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's it. And got a guy over from Venlo in Holland, it was OSE then, now Canon. And he came over and sort of proved that the machine was printing accurately and how it should, because it was a proofing machine. But gave not just said, "Oh, it's not our problem, it's yours," but gave advice on what sort of tags to put on to the actual file to give it the profiles that the machine needed to produce the colours correctly. So that was useful. I think because we do have great relationships with all the manufacturers, we deal with HP, Epson, Canon, and obviously Ricoh. So we do have access to some quite good sources within each of those.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that is different about the companies that I work with, ASL in particular, is that we are a professional company that we supply new machines to all sorts of companies, whereas other companies that supply films are literally, they get machines from third parties, don't know where they are, and they're not trained by, their techs aren't trained by the manufacturers, so they're
Right.
slightly different. Not knocking them, but just saying how we are more professional, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we certainly have been in my eyes and our art department's eyes.
Good.
Michael, that seems to pretty much be it.
Good.
Very much, Michael, from ADSL and the film division. Michael, want to say goodbye? Yeah,
keep safe, and hopefully we'll all be back working soon.
Absolutely. Cool. Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Thanks, Neil.
Take care. Bye now.
Bye.